The rain hammered the windshield like it was trying to drown out the radio's static-laced country tune, some old Johnny Cash lament about walking the line. Howard's knuckles were white on the steering wheel, his jaw set like he was chewing on gravel. And I knew better than to ask why we detoured off I-90 into this godforsaken stretch of Illinois backroads at 2 a.m. But then he swerved, tires screeching, and slammed on the brakes. The truck fishtailing into a ditch with a jolt that snapped my seatbelt like a whip. "Eugene," he gasped, blood trickling from a gash on his forehead. "I can't keep pretending." That night in the dorms, it wasn't just a kiss. I took you because I had to save you from me. I stared at him, heart pounding louder than the storm outside, because the man who'd shared my ramen and my bed for 2 years was confessing something that smelled like lies wrapped in desperation. And as lightning cracked the sky, illuminating the .38 revolver glinting in his glove compartment, unloaded, thank God, I realized our road trip from Chicago to the California coast, meant to be our fresh start, had just veered straight into hell. We'd met in the fall of 23, both freshmen at Northwestern, thrown together by the housing lottery like a bad blind date. I was Eugene Harper, the awkward kid from a sleepy suburb outside Milwaukee, majoring in journalism because I figured words were safer than people. Dad was a union welder who'd lost his arm in a factory mishap when I was 10. Mom a part-time librarian who quoted Maya Angelou to keep us afloat. I grew up hiding my sketches of boys in the margins of my notebooks, terrified that the Bible study group at church would sniff out the truth. Coming out? That was for kids with trust funds and therapy bills, not for the Harpers, who scrape by on grit and grace. Howard Ellis crashed into my life like a linebacker, literally. He was this towering guy from rural Indiana, built like he could bench press a Buick, with sun-bleached hair that fell in waves and eyes the color of Lake Michigan on a stormy day. Sociology major, track star, the kind of all-American farm boy who quoted Springsteen lyrics while chugging Bud Lights at tailgates. Our dorm room in Willard Residential College smelled like Axe body spray and microwave popcorn from day one. "Yo, roomie," he'd said, tossing his duffel on the bottom bunk. "Name's Howard. Don't touch my protein shakes." And we're golden. I didn't touch them. But I did steal glances when he stripped down after practice, towel slung low on his hips, muscles rippling under skin dusted with freckles. He caught me once, mid-change, and just grinned that crooked, boyish grin that made my stomach flip. "Like what you see, Gene," he'd teased, using the nickname that stuck like gum on a shoe. I mumbled something about the Bears' shitty draft picks and buried my face in my laptop. That was us, easy rhythm. Late-night talks about everything from the Roe v. Wade leaks to why small-town queers like us felt like aliens in our own skins. By winter quarter, the flirtation turned electric. Study sessions devolved into shoulders brushing, knees knocking under the desk in the library's dim stacks. One night, snow blanketing Evanston like a hush, we trudged back from a dive bar on Davis Street, buzzed on cheap IPAs. The campus paths were empty, fairy lights twinkling from the archways like hesitant stars. Howard stopped under the Deering Library's gargoyles, breath fogging the air. "Gene," he said, voice rough as the wind off the lake. "You ever think about it? Us." My heart jackhammered. Every damn day, I admitted, the words slipping out like a confession in the dark. He closed the gap, his calloused hand cupping my jaw, thumb tracing my lower lip. Our first kiss was tentative, tasting of hops and hesitation, then fierce as he backed me against the cold stone, tongues tangling like we'd been starving for it. When we broke apart, foreheads pressed, he whispered, "This is real. Yeah? No bullshit. No bullshit." That's what I believed. We kept it quiet at first, stolen moments in the shower stalls. His hand on my thigh during midnight drives to the dunes at Indiana Dunes National Park, where we'd park the truck and make out until the windows fogged. But by spring, it spilled over. We'd cook spaghetti in our tiny kitchenette, arguing over whether Fleetwood Mac or Nirvana defined heartbreak. Then tumble into my top bunk, bodies fitting like puzzle pieces. Howard was all fire, passionate, possessive, the way he'd pin my wrists and murmur, "You mine, Jean," like a vow. I melted into it, finally feeling seen, wanted, in a world that still whispered freak behind closed doors. That summer, post-freshman year, we sublet a shoebox apartment off campus in Rogers Park, the L train rattling past our fire escape like a mechanical heartbeat. I interned at the Daily Northwestern, churning out puff pieces on campus protests. Howard waitressed at a Greasy Spoon on Clark Street, charming tips out of hungover co-eds. Nights were ours, picnics in Washington Park with stolen wine, binge-watching The Wire on his ancient laptop, debating if Omar Little was the ultimate anti-hero. He opened up about his family, a strict Baptist dad who disowned his uncle for being gay, a mom who baked pecan pies but prayed away the demons. "I ain't letting that poison touch us," he'd say, pulling me close. I believed him. God, I believed him. A crack show by junior year. Howard grew distant, phone buzzing with texts he deleted too quick, vanishing for family stuff that left him hollow-eyed and chain-smoking Camels on the balcony. I'd press, gentle at first, "Babe, talk to me," and he'd deflect with that grin, sex that left me boneless. Promises whispered in the afterglow. "It's nothing, Jean. Just ghosts. I'll let it slide, because love makes fools of us all," and I was the biggest one. The real fracture came in October, during homecoming weekend. Campus thrummed with alumni in purple and white, the air crisp with bonfire smoke and grilled brats. We'd planned a low-key night, beers at caffeine, then back to crash. But Howard's buddy from high school, this slick prick named Tyler, some finance bro from Indy, crashed the party. All Rolex and red Solo cups. Tyler clapped Howard on the back too hard, slung an arm around his shoulders like they shared secrets. "H man, still slinging burgers. Were you finally manned up?" I laughed it off, but the vibe soured when Tyler cornered me by the dartboard. "You the new sidekick?" "Huh." Howard always did pick up strays. His eyes raked me, dismissive, and something twisted in my gut. Later, stumbling home, Howard was wasted, Tyler's arm steadying him as we piled into an Uber. At our door, Tyler lingered, slapping Howard's chest. "Call me, bro." We got unfinished business. The door clicked shut, and Howard slumped against it, eyes glassy. "He's an asshole," he slurred. "Forget him." I couldn't. That night, as Howard snored off the booze, I scrolled Tyler's Insta, endless yacht pics, crypto flexes, a throwback of him and Howard at prom. Arms slung casual, grins wide, jealousy gnawed, irrational but insistent. Was Tyler the ghost? Some ex-fling Howard buried? I shoved it down, but the seed sprouted. Fast forward to December 25. We'd graduated, me with a gig at the Chicago Tribune's Metro desk, him coaching JV track at a South Side high school. Our new place was a third-floor walk-up in Wicker Park, exposed brick and creaky floors, the kind of spot where hipsters sipped oat milk lattes below. Life felt solid. Sunday brunches at the Bongo Room, weekend hikes in Starve Rock. His hand in mine under the table at family dinners where my folks pretended not to notice. We'd even talked rings, not marriage. Not yet, but futures. Portland, he'd say, tracing patterns on my back. Or Seattle. Somewhere green, away from this concrete jungle. Then, out of nowhere, he pitched the road trip. 2 weeks. Gene. Coast to coast. Like Kerouac, but with better playlists. It was impulsive. His eyes alight with that old fire. My editor owed me PTO. His principal greenlit it. We packed the truck, his beat-up Ford F-150, dented from a hailstorm back home, with coolers of PB and JS, a tent, and dreams. Destination, Big Sur, where we'd camp under redwoods and finally exhale. Day one was magic. We blasted Born to Run from Chicago's Loop. Skyline shrinking in the rear view. Wind whipping through open windows. Stops at dive motels in Indiana, where we'd laugh over vending machine dinners. A detour to the Field of Dreams site in Iowa, where Howard reenacted the "if you build it" speech, voice cracking with boyish awe. By Nebraska, the plains stretched endless. And so did our talks about adopting a rescue dog, maybe naming it after Ginsberg, about the fear that gnawed at me, the what-ifs of a world still hostile to guys like us. But on night 4, holed up in a Super 8 outside Lincoln, the first lie unraveled. Howard's phone lit up at midnight, screen glowing like a guilty secret. I pretended sleep, but glimpsed the name, Tyler. The message, tell him yet? Clock's ticking. Howard bolted upright, fumbling to silence it. But not before I saw the fear in his eyes. Raw. Animal. Spam, he muttered, rolling away. I lay there, pulse thundering, the room closing in like a trap. Morning brought forced cheer, cornfields blurring by, his hand on my knee during a podcast on unsolved Midwestern murders. But the silence festered. By Kansas. I cracked. Who's Tyler? Really? We were parked at a rest stop. Diesel fumes thick. Semis rumbling past like judgments. Howard's face shuddered. Old friend. Toxic as hell. Drop it. Gene. I can't. Words tumbled. Accusations of hiding. Of us being a phase. Of Tyler being the real deal. He exploded. Voice booming in the cab. You think I'd throw us away for that prick? Jesus. Eugene. After everything. He stormed out, slamming the door, leaving me with the echo of his boots on gravel. Minutes stretched. I pictured him driving off, stranding me in flyover nowhere. But he returned, rain-soaked, collapsing into the seat with a sob. I'm sorry. It's not what you think. But I can't. Not yet. We drove in brutal quiet, the radio filling voids with ads for trucker CBs and Jesus billboards promising salvation. That night in Dodge City, yes. Like the Ginsmoke town, we shared a motel bed, but not touches. His back to me, a wall of muscle and regret. I traced the tattoos on his shoulder, a faded eagle from his high school days. A cross inked in haste. I love you, I whispered to the dark. No reply, but his breathing hitched. Oklahoma blurred into Texas panhandle dust devils. Our detours a desperate bid for normalcy. A rodeo in Amarillo where Howard won me a stuffed bull at the shooting gallery. Our laughter forced, but real for a flicker. Then, in a taqueria off Route 66, over carnitas that burned my tongue. He tried. Tyler's from back home. We ran together as kids, stupid shit, vandalism, joyrides. He got me into trouble. But it's over. Trouble how? I pressed. Fort pause midair. He looked away, at the neon Virgin Mary flickering outside. The kind that follows you. Like a shadow. I wanted to believe it was petty, egged windows, maybe a bar fight. But his eyes said deeper, darker. We pushed west, the Rockies looming like accusations, and I buried the doubt under miles. Until that storm in Colorado, when the swerve happened, and everything shattered. The truck groaned as it settled in the mud, engine ticking like a bomb, defusing itself. Rain sheeted down, turning the world to gray smears. And Howard fumbled for the glove box, yanking out napkins to staunch the blood from his cut. "You okay?" he rasped, voice thick with adrenaline. I nodded, unbuckling, my side throbbing from the dash. "What the hell? Howard, you trying to kill us?" He laughed, bitter and broken, wiping his face. "Worse. Trying to outrun it." That's when he told me, halting at first, then in a rush like vomit. Tyler wasn't just a ghost. He was the devil on Howard's shoulder. The reason we'd met at all. Flashback to senior year of high school. Howard at 18. Cocky and cornered in that Indiana town where cornfields hid meth labs and church steeples judged silent. His dad, Big Earl Ellis, was a feedlot foreman, fists like hams, sermons on Sundays about fire and brimstone. Howard was the golden boy, quarterback, future Farmers of America poster child, but inside, he was unraveling. The crushes on locker room teammates, the porn tabs he cleared in panic. Tyler, his best friend since sandbox days, since at first. "You're one of us." He'd said one night by the Wabash River, passing a joint. "Queer as a $3 bill." On it, they experimented, clumsy fumbles in Tyler's barn, tasting rebellion. But Tyler was wildfire, dragging Howard into the underbelly, boosting cars from Indy lots, fencing them to chop shops across state lines. Easy money. "Bro," Tyler grinned, engine roaring as they fled cops with blue lights fracturing the mirror. Howard hated it, the adrenaline souring to shame, but Tyler had dirt, a blurry pic from the barn. Howard's face clear. Mid-kiss. "You bail. It goes viral." Small-town scandal. Preacher's kid exposed. So Howard stayed, trapped in the cycle. Until the night it imploded, a heist gone wrong in Terre Haute. A security guard catching them mid-swap plates. Shots fired, not by them, but in the chaos. The guard went down, blood pooling on cracked asphalt. Tyler swore it was accidental, a ricochet, but the cops pinned manslaughter. They ran, ditching the car in a soy field. Howard hitching to Chicago with $200 and a bus ticket. "I thought I was free," he said now, rain drumming the roof like applause for his confession. Enrolled at Northwestern on a track scholarship. Buried the past. Then you got Gene. You were light. I fell so hard. I convinced myself the shadow was gone. But Tyler? He dodged the rap, slick lawyer daddy, plea deal to juvie, and resurfaced last month. Fresh out, crashing Howard's coaching gig tailgate. "He wants back in," Howard continued, voice cracking. "Says he found God in lockup. But it's bullshit. He's broke, desperate, and he knows about us. Threatened to out me to my folks unless I front him cash for some legit scheme, flipping cars. He calls it clean. This time, my mind reeled. Pieces slotting, the deleted texts, the vanishing acts. Why not tell me? We could have gone to the cops. Or, cops, he barked a laugh. The same ones who grilled me for hours after that guard died. I was never charged. Gene, Tyler's dad, buried it, but my prints were on the wheel. One word, and I'm accessory. And you. I drag you down. My light, my everything." He reached for my hand, but I pulled back, the cab suddenly claustrophobic. "You lied." For months, hurt bloomed hot in my chest, mingling with the metallic tang of fear. Took me on this trip like some romantic escape, but it's a goddamn fugitive run. No, his eyes, wild and wet, locked on mine. I want it real. To leave Tyler's calls unanswered, start over in Cali. But he tailed us, spotted the truck at that gas station in Kansas. That's why the detour. Try to lose him. Lightning forked, illuminating his face, pleading, wrecked. Part of me wanted to bolt, hail a greyhound, and ghost him forever. But another part, the one that remembered his laugh echoing in our dorm, his body shielding mine from a drunk driver on Lake Shore Drive last summer. That part ached. What now? I whispered. We keep driving. Get to the coast. Figure it out. Together. He leaned in, lips brushing my temple. Salt and rain mingling. Please, Gene. I can't lose you. I nodded, numb, as we winched the truck free with a borrowed come-along from a passing rancher. A grizzled vet named Cal who eyed us like stray dogs but didn't pry. Back on the blacktop by dawn, Colorado's peaks clawing the sky. Silence settled heavier than the altitude. We camped that night in Black Canyon, pinyon pines whispering secrets. The fire our only confessor. Howard sketched in the dirt with a stick our route, dotted with stars for stops, Moab arches, Vegas neon, Yosemite's granite cathedrals. See? Adventure, he said, forcing levity. I managed to smile, but sleep evaded, my brain looping betrayals. Utah hit like a fever dream, red rock spires at arches, where we hiked Delicate Arch at sunset, the span glowing like fire opal against plum skies. For hours, it was us again, his hand steadying me on slick rock, shared water bottle cool on parched lips. At the top, wind howling biblical. You pulled me close. Remember our first hike? Starve Rock. You twisted your ankle, and I carried you down like a damn hero. His chuckle rumbled through me. I'd do it again. Every time, I searched his face. That familiar map of stubble and scars. A nick from a barbed wire fence back home. Even now, when I'm doubting, especially now, his kiss was soft, apologetic, tasting a trail mix, and tomorrow. We made love under the stars, not frantic, but slow, reverent, bodies sinking like tides. Afterward, tangled in the sleeping bag, his heartbeat my lullaby, I almost forgave. Almost. But Tyler's shadow lengthened. In Moab, at a hole-in-the-wall diner, slinging Navajo tacos, Howard's phone buzzed again. He silenced it, but I glimpsed the preview. Pull over. Asshole. I'm right behind. Paranoia spiked. Every dusty pickup in the mirror became suspect. We cut the tourist trail, veering south on back roads through Navajo Nation. Monument Valley's mittens looming like silent judges. He's bluffing, Howard insisted, but his grip on the wheel betrayed him. Arizona's heat baked us senseless. Grand Canyon's rim a vertigo of rust and river snake far below. We splurged on a mule ride, laughing as the beasts plodded stubborn, Howard's knees knocking mine. At Phantom Ranch, deep in the gorge, we guzzled lemonade under cottonwoods, the air humming with canyon wrens. This is why, he said, gesturing vast. Proof life's bigger than mistakes. I wanted to believe, but the canyon echoed my doubts back amplified. By Nevada, exhaustion frayed us. Vegas glittered like fool's gold, neon veins pulsing on the strip. We checked into a circus room, the cheapest dive with a view of the fake Eiffel Tower. Howard dragged me to a drag brunch at Senior Frogs. Mimosas flowing, Queen's lip-syncing Gaga with lashes like palm fronds. For a night, it was escape, his foot hooked round my ankle under the table, stolen kisses in the men's room mirror, fogged with steam and steamier promises. To us, he toasted, clinking glasses. Fuck the rest. But dawn brought the bill, literal and figurative. A voicemail from Tyler. Voice oily. Nice try. Ush. But I know Gene's your Achilles. One call through his paper. Spilling your dirt? Poof. Byline on coach comes out. As killer, Howard deleted it. Face ashen. And that's when the fight erupted. Why him? I yelled, pacing the threadbare carpet. Why let him hold this sword? Because I'm scared, he roared back. Veins bulging. Scared you'll see me, the real me, and run. The kid who ran from a dead man, who lied to the boy he loves. I'm poison. Gene, you're not. I grabbed his shirt, fist in the fabric. But lies are. Tell me everything, or we're done. He sank to the bed, head in hands. The full story spilled. The guard's name, Ricky Alvarez. 42. Father of 3. Shot in the thigh, but bled out before help came. No murder charge. But the guilt? A noose. Tyler's family paid off witnesses. Howard's silence bought his freedom. I dream it, Howard admitted. Voice small. Ricky's eyes, begging. I wake screaming, and you're there, holding me. My redemption. Tears stung. I knelt, arms around him. Then let me help carry it. We held each other as the city awoke. Slot machines chiming distant dirges. Death Valley scorched next. A furnace of salt flats and mirages. The truck's AC wheezed. Our shirts plastered. But the desolation mirrored my resolve, scoured clean. We swam in badwater basins, ephemeral pools, salt crusting our skin like tears. Baptism, Howard joked, splashing me. I splashed back, and for a moment, Tyler was dust. But California loomed, and with it, confrontation. Howard's plan, confront Tyler in Barstow. Pay him off with our savings, $5K scraped from gigs, then ghost. Last loose end, he vowed. I hated it, hush money for blood, but nodded. Love's a compromise, right? We rolled into the high desert at dusk. Joshua trees, skeletal sentinels. Tyler waited at a roadside In-N-Out, leaning on a rental Chevy like a bad Western. Slicked hair, polo untucked, that same predatory grin. Boys, he drawled, eye me like roadkill. Miss me? Howard's jaw ticked. $5,000. Wire transfer. Then you vanish. Tyler chuckled, sipping a shake. Make it 10. And a favor, your truck, for a flip. Clean plates, like old times. No, Howard's voice was steel. Take the cash, or what? Snitch. Tyler's eyes flicked to me. Ask your boy how it'd feel. Front page news. Reporter's lover linked to fatal fleeing. Eugene Harper, right? Cute byline. Rage boiled. I stepped forward. You touch him. You touch me. And I've got friends at the ATF, car theft federal now. Tyler's laugh died. Calculating. Feisty. H always liked him mouthy. But Howard lunged. Fist clenched, not swinging, but close. Enough. We're done. A standoff. Heat waves shimmering. Tyler pocketed the phone. Howard shoved. Burner. Prepaid, muttering, your funeral. He peeled out, dust clouding our vision. Relief crashed, then dread. He'll come back, I said, as we drove into twilight. Howard nodded. Grim. Yeah. But now you know, we camped in Alabama hills that night. Boulders like ancient altars under a Milky Way spill. Around the fire, embers dancing. Howard opened his soul wider. The therapy he'd skipped. The prayers he'd whispered post-heist. Begging absolution. I took you along because you make me better, he said. Voice smoke husked. Made me his own kind of man. I leaned into him. The stars are confessor. Then let's finish this trip. For real. The Sierra Nevada swallowed us whole. Pine-scented air sharp as regret. Winding highway, 395 a ribbon through granite passes. Yosemite greeted like a cathedral. El Capitan sheer face daring climbers. Half domes cur a lover's back. We hiked Mist Trail at dawn. Spray from vernal fall soaking us to the bone. Rainbows arcing in a mist. Howard's hand in mine felt anchor solid. Our steps synced on slick granite stairs. Look at that, he breathed, pointing to a mule deer grazing meadow edge. Ears twitching. Simple wonders. Mending fractures. But Tyler's echo lingered. In the valley's bustle, tourists in Patagonia vests snapping selfies, we felt exposed. Every glance a potential accusation. Howard checked mirrors obsessively. I jumped at phantom texts. Tuolumne Meadows offered solace. Alpine Lake's mirror flat. Wildflowers nodding in breeze. We picnicked on cliffs, feet dangling over abyss, sharing a baguette and brie smuggled from a Mariposa market. Remember Chicago winters? I said, cheese crumbling flaky. Bundled on the L, your scarf around us both. He smiled, real this time. Best warmth. His fingers lace mine, thumbs circling knuckles, a habit now intimate. We talked futures again, me freelancing features on queer trailblazers, him opening a track camp for at-risk kids in Oakland. Redemption arc, he quipped, but his eyes held hope. Yosemite faded into sequoia giants, Kings Canyon, where trees predated Columbus, bark furrowed like worry lines. We wandered General Grant Grove, Howard's palm pressed to ancient wood. Bigger than sins, he murmured. I nodded, throat tight. Nature's scale humbled us, sins shrinking to specks. That night, in a Wawona hotel, creaky Victoriana, fireplaces crackling, we made promises. Not vows, but close. No more shadows, he said. Candlelight gilding his face. You and me, full light. Southward. Big Sur beckoned, the coast's wild heart. But first, a detour to Hearst Castle, that gilded folly of excess. Tourists gawked at zebras grazing hills, Hearst's eccentric touch, and we played along, whispering jokes about robber barons. If I were rich, Howard said, arm around my waist in a Neptune pool shadow. I'd buy this for us. Private beach. No Tyler. I'd buy truth. I thought, but said, we've got the real treasure. A kiss there, public but chaste, drew a family's approving nod, progress. In his patchwork America. PCH hugged cliffs like a dare. Ocean crashing turquoise, fury below. We stopped at Bixby Bridge. Span arching iconic. Wind whipping our hair. Howard pulled out his phone, not for calls, but photos us, grinning against the rail. Salt air briny. Frame this, he said. Hour before. Before what? The word hung. But I let it. Pfeiffer Beach's purple sands mesmerized, manganese crystals glinting like amethysts under waves. We walked barefoot, toes sinking cool, collecting shells in my backpack. A rogue wave soaked us, laughter bubbling free, pure, untainted. This, I gasped, wringing my shirt. This is why we fight. Howard's eyes softened, pulling me down to sit on driftwood. Yeah, the sun dipped, painting sky and fire, orange. Magenta, the horizon bleeding gold. That's when he gave me the ring, not diamond, but a simple silver band. Engraved inside, light. He'd bought it in Vegas. Impulsive. During our drag brunch haze. Not marriage, he clarified, sliding on my finger, but promise. To face the dark together. Tears blurred the sunset. I kissed him fierce. Salt on lips from sea and emotion. That night, camped at Limekill State Park, redwoods meeting surf, we burned sage from a roadside stand. Howard's hand steady as he waved smoke over us. Clean slate, he intoned, half joking, half prayer. Under canvas, stars pricking through zipper gap. We held each other, bodies, souls, vulnerable and whole. But dawn brought the devil. Tyler's text, GPS ping from Howard's phone, shared in panic during the Colorado skid. A just in case. Nice ring. Meet at Ragged Point. Noon. Or Tribune gets the files. Ricky's autopsy. Your prints. Attached, a scan. Yellowed. Howard's juvenile record. The guard's obit circled in red. Panic clawed. Ragged Point, Big Sur's gateway. Elephant seals barking on rocks below. We run, I urged, breaking camp frantic. Ditch the phone. Head to Monterey cops. Howard shook his head. Face carved stone. He'll mail it. End this now. His voice brooked no argument, but eyes pleaded forgiveness. The drive north, ironic. Backtracking, wound tense. Radio off. Only waves roar. At Ragged Point's lot, a bluff cafe overlooking chasms, Tyler lounged at a picnic table, laptop open like a threat. Wind gusted, carrying fry oil scent and brine. Punctual, he sneered, not rising. Sentimental, too. Big, sir? Real hallmark. Files, Howard demanded, tossing an envelope. Our savings? Cash traveler's checks. $8,000. Take it. Delete everything. Tyler pocketed it, smirking. Done. But first, a chat. His gaze slid to me. Oily. Jean, right? Howard never mentioned how. Domestic you are. What did he tell you? The hero edit. Shut up, I snapped. Fistballed. But Tyler leaned in, voice low. Ask him about the guard. Not Ricochet. Howard pulled the trigger. Panicked. Saw Ricky reaching. Boom. Tyler covered. But your boy's the shooter. The world tilted. Howard's face drained white. Lies, he choked. But Tyler flipped the laptop. Grainy security cam still. Time-stamped. Howard's silhouette unmistakable. Arm extended. Blur of motion. Then fall. No. My voice echoed hollow. Howard lunged for the screen, but Tyler yanked the cord. Paid off the station chief, your pop's golf buddy. Ush. But copies exist. Unless what? Howard growled, inches from decking him. Tyler grinned wolfish. You. Back with me. One score, big one. Miami yacht heist. Clean mill. Then Jean's safe. Past buried. Betrayal knifed me. Not just Tyler's, but Howard's silence. You shot him. The word scraped raw. Howard whirled. Desperation etching lines. I didn't, I swear. He reached. I thought gun, but it was his phone. Misfire. Ricochet off the bumper. Tyler twisted it to protect us both. Tears tracked his cheeks. I never told, because saying it makes it real. Makes me monster. Tyler's laugh cut sharp. Monster? Nah, just mine. He stood, laptop tucked. Clock's ticking. Ush. Jean's paper by tomorrow. Or, I snapped. Grabbed a rock from the bluff edge, fist-sized, jagged, and hurled it at the laptop as Tyler turned. It shattered screen, sparks flying, Tyler howling as he dropped it over the rail, tumbling to rocks below. You little shit. He lunged at me, but Howard tackled him. Fists flying, clean hooks from track days. Tyler's nose crunching. Chaos. Me dialing 911. Waves mocking below. Tyler fought dirty. Nita Howard's gut, but Howard pinned him. Roaring. Stay down. Cops arrived, sirens wailing. Park rangers cuffing Tyler as he spat blood and curses. You'll rot this time, Howard panted. Shirt torn. Knuckles split. They hauled Tyler away. Laptop wreckage evidence. Detectives, two no-nonsense types from Monterey PD, took statements in a trailhead office. Coffee bitter as truth. Howard confessed piecemeal. The heist. The shot. The cover-up. Manslaughter. Self-defense angle. One cop noted. Jotting. Prints match. But statute's gray. Feds might poke. Me? I sat numb. Ring heavy on finger. Watching Howard sign Miranda waiver. Call my folks, he told the cop. Not for bail, for everything. Outside. Dusk brews the sky. Seals bellows a dirge. Howard hugged me fierce. Rain starting. Big Sir's mood swings. I'm sorry, he whispered. Breath hitching. For all of it. I pulled back, heart fracturing. Were you ever going to tell? Or was I just the alibi? His eyes shattered. You were salvation. Still are. But cops led him to squad car. Cuffs glinting cold. I followed to the station. Fog shrouded. 17-mile drives, Cypress's ghosts. Bail hearing next morning. Judge stern, but compassionate, saw the fear in Howard's eyes. The love in ours. Released on $10,000 recognizance. Courtesy my emergency fund call to Mom. Family's family, she said. Voice thick over crackly line. We crashed at a Carmel B&B, white clabbered. Ocean view. Ironic sanctuary. No words that night, just holding his head on my chest, my fingers in his hair. Dawn brought decisions. Lawyers. Please. The media circus brewing. Chicago Tribune held my story. Roommates reckoning. But whispers spread. Weeks blurred. Court dates in Fresno. Depositions reliving that Terre Haute night. Tyler flipped. Ratting for leniency. Painting Howard villain. Protests outside. Queer activists chanting justice for Ricky. MAGA types yelling illegal heist scum. I dodged paparazzi at the Trib. Bylines drying as ethics board sniff conflict. Howard changed, thinner. Shadows under eyes. Trackstar build fading to haunted. I get it, he said one night. Post-hearing. On our Wicker Park balcony. City lights mocking. If you need out. I cupped his face. We fight. Together. But doubt gnawed. Was love enough against law's grind? Climax crested in spring 26. Trial in Indy. Full circle to hell's mouth. Courtroom smelled of polish and prejudice. Jury box filled with corn-fed faces. Prosecutor hammered. Premeditated flight. Reckless endangerment. Defense countered. Panic. Youth. No intent. Witnesses. Tyler's dad. Smug on stand. Ricky's widow. Voice breaking on the stand. Eyes hollow. He was coaching Little League that morning. She wept. Gone by dinner. I testified. Character. Love. Voice steady but soul screaming. Howard's folks appeared. Mom, tearful. Dad, stone-faced. A gnaw my way the only thaw. Closing. DA's justice demands reckoning. Defense's mercy for the misguided. Verdict. Guilty. Manslaughter 2. Sentence. 5 years. Probation eligible after 2. Community service. Gavel fell. Howard's hand squeezed mine. Final before cuffs. Transfer to a minimum security upstate. Work release for good behavior. I visited weekly. Plexiglass between. Voices tinny. Read this. He'd slide books. Capotes in cold blood. Baldwin's Giovanni's room. Keeps me human. Months carved slow. Chicago winters bit harder without him. L train's empty. Wicker Park walks solo. His protein shakes gathering dust in the fridge. I threw myself into work. Investigative pieces on queer incarceration. Spotlights on reform. The Trib ate it up. Awards trickled. Glad nod. Even a Pulitzer whisper. But nights? Echoes. I traced the ring. Now on a chain round my neck. And crying to pillows that still smelled faintly of him. Letters bridged the gap. Howard scrawl. Improving with library books. Coaching inmates soccer league, he'd write. Kids like me, lost boys. Mine, mundane anchors, Bears playoff choke. Mom's new grandbaby. A protest march where rainbows flooded Michigan Avenue. Proud of you, he'd reply. My light, burning brighter. Parole hearing loomed at year 1. Virtual, me in a suit at the station. Him in khakis on grainy feed. Board grilled. Remorse? Rehab? He owned it raw. Ricky haunts me. Not absolution, but amends. Counseling at-risk youth post-release. Character refs poured. My op-ed. His coach's testimonial. Ricky's widow's letter. Shockingly compassionate. Time serving grief, she wrote. Let him build from ruins. Granted. Early release. conditions therapy, restitution fund for Ricky's kids. No contact with Tyler, who drew 8. Snitching his noose. Pickup day, crisp October. Upstate leaves aflame. I waited at gates. Truck polished. Playlist cued, Springsteen. Of course. Howard emerged. Duffel slung. Thinner, but taller somehow. Eyes scanning desperate until locking mine. He ran, awkward, free, and crashed into me. Arms crushing. Sobs muffled in my shoulder. Gene, just that. World in a syllable. Homecoming blurred. Chicago sprawl welcoming. Our apartment aired out. Friends potluck. Queer chorus singing off-key welcomes. But real re-entry? Raw. Nightmares jolted him. I hold. Murmuring. Here. Safe. Therapy tandem. Unpacking trauma. Is guilt my grief's mirror? You could have left, he'd say. Post-session. Over takeout foe in Uptown. Never. Truth. I'd rebuilt us in absence, stronger joists. No shadows. Job offer came. Portland Alternative Weekly. Covering Pacific Northwest green renaissance. Go, he asked. Tentative. Together, we packed light, memories heavy enough. The drive echoed our first. 90 West. But deliberate. No fugitives. Stops intentional. Indiana Dunes for closure. Where he'd scatter soil from Ricky's hometown. A gesture. Small amends. Not enough, he admitted. Toes in sand. But start. Nebraska diners. Wyoming Tetons snow-capped. Conversations deeper. Silences comfortable. Tyler's rotting, Howard said once. Radio humming low. Karma's a bitch. Forgive him. I probed. Hand on his thigh. Nah. But me? Working on it. His grin. Crooked, eternal. Warmed. Portland embraced. Rainy veils. Food carts steaming. Powell City of Books, a labyrinth love. We rented a bungalow in Selwood. Backyard furs whispering approval. Howard joined a rec center. Coaching immigrant kids. Soccer drills laced with life lessons. No running from mistakes, he'd bark, then hug sweaty heads. I wrote essays on second chances. Queer resilience. Our story anonymized, but true. Anniversary hit, 1 year free. 3 together. We drove to Big Sur again. Loop closed. Bixby Bridge at dusk. Same rail. But rings matched now. Mine rejoined finger. Truth changed everything, Howard said. Wind tousling. Ocean eternal roar. Broke us. Remade stronger. I nodded. Forehead to his. And the taking? That road trip? He chuckled. Deep. Best detour. Made you mine, for real. Kiss lingered. Salt sweet. Promise sealed. Back home. Life wove ordinary magic. Farmers markets hawking Marionberries. Pride floats down Burnside. His hand in mine unhidden. Conflicts lingered. Flashes of doubt. Societal side eyes, but we faced them intertwined. Years folded. Adoption papers for a scrappy terrier mix named Kerouac. My book deal on outlaw hearts. Memoir veiled. Sales steady. Howard's TEDx talk on redemption. Viral in queer circles. Ricky's kids? We funded college quietly. Anonymous donors through a foundation. His widow wrote once, he'd want grace. Grace. That's the humanistic core. Flawed men fumbling toward light. Love the compass. Controversies flared. Tabloids dredging trial dirt. Family rifts mending slow. His dad at our commitment ceremony. Handshake tentative, but there. Misunderstandings? We therapied them out. Decisions hard but shared. Therapy marathons. Boundary talks over IPA flights. One night, porch swing creaking under cascade stars. Howard turned. Regret it? The truth bomb. I sipped cider. His head on my shoulder. Nah. Bombs clear debris. Build better. He hummed assent, fingers tracing my ring. Love you, Jean. Always. Light, I whispered back. And in that quiet American dream, rain pattering leaves, city hum distant, we were whole. Not perfect, but human. Profoundly, achingly so.